Coming up on Mountain News this morning, authorities are still searching for a motive in last week's shooting death of conservative personality Charlie Kirk. And across the nation and here in the Commonwealth, public comments about the shooting are putting some people's jobs in jeopardy.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good Monday morning to you. I'm Caroline Mueller. The time is now 6 a.m. and today's date is September 15th. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at your forecast this morning. Now, Megan, you were just telling me it was a perfect weekend for you because you got to go out on a nice, 12-mile bike ride?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know if I could have done that in the heat, so, more power to you.
Well, it was perfect. No better weather that I could have asked for. Now, it did get a little toasty towards the end of the bike ride as we did start in the morning hours, but the wind was perfect. And that's kind of what we're setting up again for your Monday perfect temperatures. This morning, we're looking at a mixture of the 50s and 60s, and this afternoon, a tad on the toasty side, but building up to that, it will be perfect weather with highs in the mid to upper 80s and nice and clear skies on top of that. Just a little bit of clouds here and there. We'll see the warmest temperatures this afternoon around 4 p.m. with a mixture of mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies and a very slight chance of seeing a sprinkle or two, mainly for our Virginia counties. Caroline.
Sounds good, Megan. Thank you. Troopers were called to a deadly crash on the Mountain Parkway Saturday morning. It happened at the 33-mile marker at around 8 in the morning. Only one car was involved. KSP says their preliminary investigation found the driver was heading east when he left the road and hit an embankment, causing his car to flip. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene. He's been identified as 49-year-old James Gabbard. A man once convicted in a 2020 deadly shooting in Wolfe County is in court today. Troy Dunkelberger was found guilty of manslaughter in the shooting death of Jaron Slayback. The two were on vacation at Red River Gorge with a group of friends. The Kentucky Supreme Court overturned that conviction in March. He could be retried. Commonwealth's attorney Miranda King says the reason for the delay in court proceedings is because Dunkelberger has had 3 attorneys since the Supreme Court ruling. The pretrial conference is set for today at 1. This morning, authorities are still searching for a motive in last week's shooting death of conservative personality Charlie Kirk during a public debate event at Utah Valley University. The suspect was taken into custody last week, and he could make his first court appearance as soon as tomorrow. CBS News' Bradley Blackburn is in New York with more on the investigation and funeral plans for Kirk.
Authorities are sharing new details about the suspect charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk last week. The Utah County Sheriff says 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is being closely watched in a special housing unit.
He does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family.
On multiple Sunday news shows, Utah Governor Spencer Cox said Robinson is not cooperating, though his friends and relatives are.
The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening.
The governor added that at this time, it is not clear if the roommate's identity is relevant to the case. According to a police affidavit, the roommate showed investigators Discord messages that the suspect sent mentioning a rifle wrapped in a towel left in the bushes and bullet casings with anti-fascist inscriptions, all similar to evidence authorities say they've collected. The affidavit also says a family member told police that the suspect had mentioned that Kirk would be in Utah ahead of last week's event. Vigils honoring Kirk were held around the country yesterday, including at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.
Charlie Kirk did so much in his short life.
Kirk's public memorial service is scheduled for Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona.
We lost a great person.
President Trump says he plans to attend. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
In a statement to CBS News, a Discord spokesperson said it had not found or received any evidence that the suspect planned this incident on Discord or promoted violence on Discord. Utah's governor has said that the state plans to pursue the death penalty against the suspect. Across the nation and here in the Commonwealth, public comments about the shooting death of Charlie Kirk have put some people's jobs in jeopardy or ended in termination. While free speech exists, there are limits in the workplace. Will Cree-Lee with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression says that an employee's right to free speech depends on whether their company is private or government or publicly owned.
We're getting a report, seems like just about every 10 minutes from across the nation of folks who have been fired, suspended, investigated, or disciplined for speaking out, expressing their opinions about the news of the day.
Kentucky is an at-will employment state, meaning employees work voluntarily and can be terminated for almost any reason, including sharing an opinion that may not align with the company's values. Authorities have described this as a targeted assassination, raising concerns over public safety for politicians. Kentucky Congressman James Comer was asked about that on Thursday.
I think we all need to kind of think about outdoor events more, because you take what happened yesterday in Butler, and it's terrible that we have to even have that conversation, but that's certainly something that I think when you talk about security, you need to think about. Outdoor events probably are going to be a lot fewer in numbers for members of Congress, at least in the short term.
Comer says both parties are guilty of heated political rhetoric, and he hopes Congress and the media can do better. And as we learn more about the assassination, you or someone you know may have come across the graphic videos circulating on social media without a warning. Whether you sought out the video or stumbled upon it while scrolling, the disturbing scenes can be hard to forget. Experts say seeing violence through a screen can be traumatic and could lead to trouble sleeping, anxiety, or even social panic. One clinical psychologist says when kids are exposed to certain content on repeat, the algorithm will continue to fill that feed with that content.
Being exposed to certain content online or on social media can trigger these algorithms to feed thinking that we want more of it, and it'll send more and more, and kids might not be aware of that. Being able to read and constructively criticize what they're reading and correct any misperceptions is going to be really important in developing healthy children with healthy digital habits.
Wester says parents should implement social media breaks and model that same behavior. President Donald Trump says he will be deploying National Guard troops to the city of Memphis, Tennessee. The president says the Memphis mayor and Tennessee Governor Bill Lee agree with the move. He says the city is deeply troubled, citing their crime rates. Troops have already been deployed in cities like Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles. The president says they are going to clean up Memphis like they have in both of those cities. So far, no timetable for when the troops will be on the ground. Secretary of State Marco Rubio went to the Western Wall in Jerusalem Sunday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It was a show of support for Israel, even as President Trump says he's unhappy with continued violence in its conflict with Hamas. Last week, an Israeli airstrike targeted a Hamas negotiating team in Qatar. Qatar's prime minister called it, quote, state terrorism.
Qatar's been a very great ally. So Israel and everybody else, we have to be careful. When we attack people, we have to be careful.
What's happened has happened. Obviously, we were not happy about it. The president was not happy about it. Now we need to move forward and figure out what comes next.
In recent days, the Israeli military has intensified airstrikes on Gaza City and is demanding a full evacuation of about 1 million people.
For some folks out and about, you might be running into patches of dense fog that's starting to pop up over the past hour and will continue until that sun starts to warm up the ground just a little bit more. Now, in terms of where we're seeing that fog, it's as you travel more towards that Kentucky and Tennessee border. So just make sure you're driving carefully and have those low beams turned on. But there is no rain to impact your driving conditions this morning. And the main thing that you'll need to know as you're heading out the door will be those temperatures, as we're sitting in a mixture of the upper 50s and low 60s. Not at all a bad way to start off your day and the week. As temperatures do continue to warm up, we will see highs in about the mid to upper 80s. So definitely warm for this time of year, as we normally sit at that 79-degree mark. High temperatures will be around 4 p.m. Caroline.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Still to come, what you know about Social Security may not be the information that you need to know the most.